Next up at UFC Vegas 44, we have Jimmy Crute versus Jamahal Hill. Jimmy Crute, 12-2 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off of that leg shutdown loss to Anthony Smith. Jamahal Hill, 8-1 overall, 3-1-1 in his last 5, coming off of that sort of shocking loss to Paul Craig. Wasn't shocking to me and Danny, though. We picked that one. Shocking loss to Paul Craig with that really bad arm injury. Jimmy Crute, fantastic wrestler. Even in that loss to Anthony Smith, when his leg was just straight up not working, he was still able to work in takedowns. He averages almost 5 takedowns per fight with an 80% takedown accuracy, which is, those two numbers together are insane. I mentioned it earlier. When you see a guy that has high takedowns per fight but a low takedown percentage, he's a chain wrestler. In Jimmy Crute, we have high takedowns and high accuracy, which is very impressive. And that's one of the most impressive volume stats I've seen in the UFC. But what's interesting about that is that means people are getting up. If you have 5 takedowns in a 3-round fight, that means somebody got up 4 times. So he's not a pure grappler, though. He has one-punch knockout power and a pretty good 2-to-1 striking differential. So Jimmy Crute, very well-rounded guy, primarily a grappler, still has power, can still strike and hang. Jamahal Hill is a tall, rangy striker. He comes forward. He picks his shots really well. He has an incredible 7-3 striking differential. So he almost doubles his opponent's strikes. He's primarily a boxer, but he does have solid leg kicks. He doesn't have incredible power, but half of his wins are by stoppage. But if you look into that, it's just accuracy and volume. He is not sleeping you with one punch. He's basically overwhelming you until the referee comes in. So great striker, not that insane raw power. People fall behind, shell up, he unloads on them, and the referee comes in. Honestly, for me, this is pretty straightforward. This card is loaded with underdogs, and I don't think this is one of them. I see Jamahal trying to use his range to keep Crute away, but ultimately Jimmy's going to work in, get takedowns. If Jamahal had one-punch knockout power, I think that could scare Jimmy a bit, maybe frustrate him a little bit, taking into a bad shot and cracking him, but he just doesn't. I see Jimmy eating whatever volume comes his way, throwing in his own power, working takedowns. I like Jimmy to win. I see a good amount of takedowns here, so I actually like the $9,200. Danny boy, what are your thoughts here?
So if Jimmy Crute and Brendan Allen can be in the same locker room and just like make a pact that they're going to wrestle this fight, we're good. They're both going to win. Jimmy Crute's path is wrestling. Jamahal Hill, I bet against him a couple times. I got burnt against OSP. Watching that fight was just the most frustrating thing in the world. But the weird thing about Jimmy Crute is, every one of his last 5 fights have ended in the first round, right? He either wins or loses in the first round. And I think you said he's got 5 takedowns per fight average or whatever, but if you look at it, he's got 8. Yeah. It's 8 against Ola Jacek a couple fights ago. Then he's got none against Bukauskas because he got a knockout. And then his last fight against Smith, he tried striking a little bit, and that's when his leg got jacked up. And he still got 3 takedowns, but it was kind of too little too late. He was already hurt. But, again, like you said, the path here is takedowns. Jamahal Hill, good striker, not a lot of he's a crisp striker, but he doesn't have a lot of power. And when Craig took him down, it was like they were drilling almost. He snatched his arm, and Jamahal Hill didn't know what to do. Like, he got omoplated, swept, armbarred, got basically knocked out from an armbar position. So I think there's just going to be a big disadvantage for Jamahal Hill on the ground. If Jimmy Crute wrestles, he should get him to the ground easy and get a submission. So I think he's worth the $9,200. I think he's going to get a sub if he fights smart. Just don't do what you did against Anthony Smith and go out there trying to strike. We know you're good, you're tough, but easy path, wrestling and jiu-jitsu.
Dan and I on the same page. What about you, Jakey boy?
I 100% agree with what Dan was saying. This feels exactly, we just talked about the last fight. This feels like the Phil Hawes, Chris Curtis fight, right? It was an easy path to victory, But you see, I'm glad you mentioned that last fight, that Anthony Smith fight. He was just getting eaten alive by Anthony Smith's jab. Just a jab, just absolutely just beaten. Every single jab was hitting him straight in the face, no head movement. If he comes in, even in the first minute, and tries to do that against Jamahal Hill, Jamahal Hill is a really, really good boxer. I think he even called himself, the best boxer in the UFC. A lot of people are saying that. But he is actually a very, very slick boxer. And the thing that interests me the most about this fight is against Paul Craig. I think Paul Craig was a short notice fight, so that kind of plays a factor. But Paul Craig, it was a grappler versus striker. Jamahal Hill in that fight was a 200 favorite in that fight. So people really didn't even care about the Paul Craig's ability. Obviously, he didn't even get taken down. Paul Craig actually pulled guard, and Jamahal Hill, for whatever reason, jumps into his guard. And he got to the arm bar once, but then, like Dan said, didn't really know what was going on down there. So Jimmy Crute, if you want to wrestle, you can easily win this fight. If you want to strike, you're probably going to get TKO'd or knocked out. You're going to get pieced up for sure, because Jamahal Hill is a no joke on the feet. He calls himself the best boxer. I don't think he's probably the best boxer, but he's very, very good with his hands, and he's slick with it too. So, wrestle Jimmy, and you'll get the win, just like Dan said.
Yeah, and Mbaye brings up a good point. I don't know if Jamahal Hill's arm is healed. That thing was dangling.
And I'll say he didn't break his arm; he just dislocated it. So that's a big difference between a bone break that needs to heal or a dislocation. You just kind of throw it back and then kind of let it sit. So it was a dislocation, not a break. So that's a little bit easier.
Yeah, it was swimming around. The only thing keeping it attached was skin. But I mentioned I like Jimmy at $9,200. Are you guys on that page?
I like him, yeah.
I don't. I'm actually picking. I was gonna pick Jamahal Hill in this fight. I'll go with Hill in this fight. I do have a question for you guys, because his stance, he kind of has one of those wide stances. It's like a lot of boxers have like the short stance, the high. But his is a little bit wider. I think, is that going to be easier for Jimmy to get those takedowns with those wide stance, or is that going to allow Hill to kind of move in and out from those takedown attempts?
Just single legs there, and it's all about your hips. If you don't have the right hips to defend takedowns, the stance is, the wide stance is going to leave a single leg, right? Like Glover's got that single leg, that snatch single, so that'll leave that open. But I don't even think it matters if you don't have the hips. You're going to get taken down no matter what stance you have.
Yeah. No.
What do you think, Angelo? You're the wrestler.
No, that's what I was going to say. Like you have nice wide base. You're not going to shoot a double with your arms way out here. So it's a single. You just run the pipe, put him on his butt, and that's the end of that. So I like Jimmy in my lineup. I have a bet here, and I wasn't going to say it because I felt stupid at, the breakdown here. I have one unit on the over 1.5 on rounds. I actually think this will go a little bit. I see Jimmy getting a takedown, but it may take him a little while to get into that takedown because Jamahal does have that volume, and I think he'll just smack up Jimmy's face a little bit before Jimmy just says, screw it, eats it, and commits to a takedown. So I like the over 1.5 rounds, but Dan, you made it sound like there's no way this gets out of the first round. So that bet has me a little nervous, but I do have a full unit there. And then
you have a full unit on the over what?
1.5 rounds.
I like that. I like that a lot, because even if Hill gets taken down, you saw how tough he is, right? He dislocated his arm, and it's flopping around. He's getting elbowed in the head. And he's trying to he's trying to throw punches over the top still. So he's tough as hell, and he's not, like you say, he's not a KO artist either. So I might ride that bet with you.
Yeah, I mean, I did like that, so I placed that bet. And then Monkey Knife Fight, I like them more and more. I do think they go at it. Jamal's got some good volume. Jimmy Crute, if he gets on top, he'll throw some strikes. Those strike volumes are based off of 1.5 rounds. I think it's over 1.5 rounds. So I'll do the more on the Monkey Knife Fight. What do you think, Jakey?
Yeah, I do the more too, because even you mentioned some people kind of get up from takedowns against Jimmy Crute, and I was watching a Hill fight too, where I think it was DC or somebody said that Hill was like dangerous on the ground. Obviously, he looked like he didn't know what he's doing last fight, so maybe he's got like a wild guard or something. Who knows? But I'll probably play more.
Danny boy, more, less.
I'm going less. I mean, the last 5 fights that Jimmy Crute has been in have ended in the first round, and the last 3 for Jamahal have ended in the first or second round. So I see Jimmy Crute getting a takedown and winning this early, or if he has a bad game plan, maybe he gets clipped. But I think it's going to end pretty early, first or second round.
I mean, it makes sense. I guess it's whatever side you're on there. So wewantpicks.com/bets. 5 different betting partners. Jump into any one of them, make a deposit, let us know. We'll pay you $50. It's that simple.